Hey guys, we are looking at lesson in module 18 about using bar graphs. Now we've already talked about using picture graphs or pictographs. It can be called either one. And that's when you use a picture to represent part on the graph. And remember that those pictures can represent one thing or they could represent more than one, like counting by 2s and 5s and 10s and 3s and 4s. To see what would be the correct thing to choose. So today we're looking at bar graphs. Bar graphs is something you're very familiar with. You see those a lot. So we're looking at Mr. Mason's students, and they're showing data collected on what topic might the students have collected the information. So we are going to say that Mr. Mason's class is his favorite lunch. So we're going to fill in lunch there, and we're going to also put that in the title here. And this title is written as a sentence or written as a question with a question mark at the end. So that's why the only thing that's capitalized is the first letter in that sentence. All right, so we're going to think about some lunches, and we're just going to kind of with what the book has. So we could say rice dish, and that would be like whenever we have orange chicken, and usually they serve it over rice. Soup, we'll let that be purple. Tacos, we'll let that be yellow. And orange, we'll just do a sandwich. Okay? And then the subtitle here to tell us what these things are talking about. And we're going to put kind of, try that one more time. Forgot a letter. Kind, K-I-N-D, of lunch. Okay. So I'll give you a second. Remember, this is recorded, so if you need to pause it, you can pause the time to get caught up. I'll give you a couple more seconds on that. Remember, this is kind, K-I-N-D, of lunch. All right, while some of you are finishing that up, let's look at you have a scale. A scale runs up the side here. This is what we call a vertical bar graph. That means the bars go up and down. You could also have a bar where the bars go this way, back and forth. But most of the time when you see a bar graph, a lot of times it's a vertical bar graph where the bars go up and down. Now, your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 10, you're counting by ones on that scale. And those numbers refer to the number of votes. When they went out and did a survey, these are the number of votes for each one of these items. So, for example, rice dish, the top of this blue bar comes. Soup dish goes to the 4, so that means 4 people voted for that. Tacos are most popular because it's the tallest bar there is here, and there are 9 folks that like tacos. And sandwich goes all the way to the 6, so we had 6 people that chose sandwich. So the one lunch item that they liked the least looks like it would be here for soup because it had the least number of votes of 4. Okay. When you're ready, turn the page. If you need another minute, you can always pause the video. And let's look at a new bar graph. All right, you've got then. Ask students which kind of weather is their favorite and makes this bar graph that you see here. How do you know the scale bar graph? Well, remember the scale is this. And we're just going to draw an arrow down here so we know that that's where the scale is. Now, if you look at that scale, it starts at 0, then it goes to 2, then to 4, 6, then 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. What's going on? Yep, they are counting by twos. Okay? And we can see that because that's the scale right up there. Then the next question is, how are the bars for stormy and sunny weather different than other bars? All right, well, let's look. Stormy is here, sunny is here. Now, ooh, I see something right off. Notice something. Here's stormy. It stops right here between 8 and 10. Now, what in the world does that mean? What number is between 8 and 10? That's right, 9. So there's 9 there. You know how on our graph, well, kind of the same thing here. If your scale is counted by twos, and you know this is halfway between 8 and 10, you know that's going to be 9. And the sunny is halfway between 14 and 16, so you know that's going to be, that's right, 15. So we can orange is halfway between 8 and 10, period. Now, the next one is the purple. And I want to show you something. You can use these little, they're called ditto marks. That means whatever's above it means down here. It's just a shortcut way of writing. We're just going to do that because purple is halfway between, not 8 and 10, halfway between 14 and 16. What? How can you find the number of votes for stormy weather? Well, halfway between 8, 10 is 9. And that's how we figured that out. Pause the video if you need to. The Kel, if you need to pause it, go ahead and pause it, but we're going to move to Kel. And his favorite kind of movie graph that he did, his bar graph. Oops, there we go. Kel surveys students about which kind of movie is their favorite and makes a bar graph. So, tales like fairy tales, hero, family, comedy, movies about animals. These are our kinds of movies. Here's our title, that's important. And let's go ahead and check out the scale. These are your numbers of students. Now look, we go from 0 to 4, to 8 to 12, to 16 to 20 to 24. So what are we doing? That's right, we're counting by fours. And I'm just going to put a 4 apostrophe S right there to remind me that I'm counting by fours. Oop, and look, that's our first question. Before we ever got started, we answered a question. What do you notice about the scale? Counting by fours. Okay, then it says write an equation. Now remember, equation is a big fancy word for number sentence. Write an equation to find the number of students who choose family movies. Okay, give you a chance to look at that. Well, let's just look at it. we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. Do you see that? Section 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, and there's 5. So we have 5 sections. Every section you're counting by, that's right, 4s. So 5 times 4 is 20. So 20 students. And you just can kind of look at that and see it lines up with 20 and it's going to be 20 students. But they did ask for an equation, so we had to put a number sentence there. If each space stands for 4 students, what does halfway between the space stand for? Stand for in the graph and explain. So half of 4 equals what? 2. And we kind of talked about that with the picture graphs. Write an equation to find the number of students who chose comedy movies. Same kind of thing. We've got section 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 plus half. So we can do our little handy dandy parentheses with our associative property. We've got 3 groups, and each group we're going to have stands for 4 plus 2 more. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 2 equals 14. That's right. So 14 students. That would be your number sentence. All right, then how can you find how many fewer? Oop, there's our words. How many fewer? What does how many fewer mean? We're going to subtract. Choose comedy movies over family movies. So let's go back up here. Comedy movies, we said, was 14. So I'm going to put a little 14 there. Family movies, we said, was 20. To find out how many fewer, we've got to have a number sentence. 20 take away 14. And 20 take away 14 is 6 fewer. Okay? All right. Now, next part. Remember, pause it if you need to, and we'll slide this up a little bit. You're going to use the bar graph above. That means you're going to use this up here to answer these questions down here. So you got to look up here to answer these two. Then on the back side, you have a which is your favorite kind of game. We've got ball games, board games, card games, computer games, playground games, and you have a scale here of 0, 10, 20, 30. So your scale, you're counting by tens. Just remember that. You're counting by tens there. You're going to use that to answer these questions. So what you're going to do right now is you're going to pause the video and you're going to answer questions 1, 2, all the way to number 7. And then when you have it completed completely and have them all answered, you're going to play the video and then we're going to go over your answers. Okay? All right, so work carefully and hit play when you're ready in just a few minutes. And I'll work on mine as you work on yours, and I'll meet you whenever you're finished. So, see you in a few minutes. Okay, folks, let's look at your answers. Now remember, if you have not answered these questions, hit that pause button, because it's extremely important that you do the work and then we'll check your work, because you've got an ed assignment after we finish. So let's look. Remember, we're using this graph to answer these questions below. How many more? How many more means we're going to subtract. How many more students chose comedy than hero? We said there were 14 comedy and 9 hero. Oh, wait a minute. 8. Oh, not 9. I see a mistake that I made. I was wondering why that was not working out. So let me double check. See, I didn't double check my work. That's why you need to double check yours. It's easy to do. All right, hero, I forgot that we're counting by fours, and I only added one more. I should have added two more because it ends. This is one section of 4, another section of 4 is 8, plus 2 more, and I only added 1. So that is 10. I wondered why that was not working out. So that should be 4 more. Okay? So 14 take away 10 is 4. How many fewer students choose Tales than family movies? There's 20. Take away 12 equals 8 fewer. Okay? If you got both of those, give yourself a pat on the back. Good job. Now let's look at a brand new graph on the back. Here we go. Which is your favorite kind of game? Ye survey students about which kind of game is their favorite. Now this is a new question. We haven't had one like this yet. How many students does Ye survey? Well, the only way you're going to find that out is to count up the total number. So now remember, we're counting by tens here. This is halfway between 10 and 20, so that's 15. I like to go ahead and put my numbers on the bars because you never know when you might need them, like for this. So 20, 30, halfway would be 25. This would be 5. Not many people like card games. Yellow for the computer games is 20. And then playground games is 10. Now, this tells you how many each little game got votes for. So, if you add all these up, it'll tell you the total number. So, if you add, and I'll put it right over here, 15, 25, 5, 20, and 10, let's see what happens. 5, 10, 15, 5, carry your 1, don't forget about that. 2, and 2 is 4, 5, 6, one more is 7, so 75. That's where 75 came from. You've got to add all those up to find, because if each one of those is a vote, that means each one of those is a person, or in this case, a student. So when you add them up, it tells you they surveyed 75 folks. All right, which kind of game do the greatest number of students choose? Well, which one has the highest bar? Board games. So that's where that answer comes from. Oh, here we go again. How many more? We're going to have a subtraction sentence here. How many more students choose computer games than ball games? So computer games is 20, ball game is 15, and when you subtract those, you get your 5 more. All right, one more, or 2 more rather. How many fewer? Here we go again. How many more? How many fewer? Same kind of question. We're going to subtract. Chose card games than computer games. Computer games, there was 20. Card game, there was 5. Subtract. Be careful because they put card game first. You don't want to put that 5 first. You can't subtract 20 from 5. Make sure your big numbers first. 20, take away 5, that's 15. 15 fewer. And the very last question. If the scale showed counting by 2s, now remember, we're counting by 10s here, but if it was counting by 2s, what would the bars do? Well, they'd be taller. Just like when we were talking about pictographs, if you're counting by 4s or you're counting by 2s. If you're counting by 2s, each picture represented 2, you're going to have to draw a whole lot more pictures than if you were counting by 4s. You'd have to draw double the amount because each one will represent 2, so you've got to keep going. 4, you could group more in a group. So, just like this, if we change this and counted by 2s, these bars would be much taller because you'd be counting by 2s and not 10s. Okay? All right. So, good job, guys. If you need to pause that to finish filling in or changing anything, if you missed anything, make sure you went back and fixed it. You're going to do an ed assignment on this next, so work hard. See you later.